All rise for your honor, Judge Wong. Not you, you idiot. Order, order. Oh, I lost my gavel, so I brought my little buddy Enojado. Amber Heard? No, this is Angry Heard. Hello world of YouTube. As you all may know, for the past couple of weeks, the ongoing defamation trial of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard has been flooding the world of social media. Everyone around the globe knows to some extent what has transpired recently. Now, this entire trial that is ongoing has to do with an op-ed in the Washington Post that Amber Heard wrote in December 2018, which details her experience with domestic abuse. Now, Depp's name was not mentioned by name in the article, but it is heavily implied. Now, today I'm not going to cover every little detail leading up to this point, as I want to keep everything at a healthy length for us to digest and for us to come to our own conclusion. But so far, Amber Heard and her team have yet to take the stand, and Johnny Depp has been out presenting his case, which through his deposition we find that all he really wants is to expose the truth. Now, you would have to be living under a rock.
Is it time already to ruin Miss Heard's day?
To not have noticed any footage at all of this trial and the opinions of the world left behind in millions of comments, majority of which are in support of Johnny Depp. Today we're going to examine the majority of the witnesses that have come to the stand to see if those comments are warranted or not, and to see for ourselves whether Amber Heard is a liar or not. Let's see if there's anyone in this world that is on Amber's side. Now, if you like these kind of videos, make sure you slam your gavel into that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, I hereby sentence you to 10 years of subscription to my channel. The reason I'm making a video about this in general, because like Johnny Depp, I would like to discover the truth. Because at the end of the day, no matter what kind of abuse has transpired, abuse in general should never be tolerated. And saying that men and women are equal in the sense that either or can be the perpetrator to this heinous crime. Now, the one amongst many reoccurring ideas that has been circulating throughout the trial is that through witness testimonies, Amber Heard is portrayed as the aggressor and the abuser as opposed to Johnny Depp. And there are plenty of video and audio recordings to back this idea up. Another one of those ideas is that Johnny Depp is an alcoholic and a drug addict, which then fuels his rage and his potential to be an abuser. Now, I think we can all agree that Johnny Depp wasn't an angel the entire time he was with Amber Heard, or in general. He's sure to have had his moments with alcohol and drugs, but that doesn't necessarily make you a domestic abuser. Now, these witnesses that I'm going to bring forward aren't in any specific order or any chronological order, but what's important is the facts. Man. So starting off, we have Starling Jenkins, who is Johnny Depp's driver and associate. Now, I think by now we've all heard or seen the case about the defecation left on Johnny Depp's bed and how Amber Heard was accused of dropping the deuce on his bed and then blaming it on his tiny ass teacup Yorkies. They're like this big. My dog is about this big, Maltese poodle, and her poop's not that big, so teacup Yorkie? Come on now. Now, through Starling's testimony, we now have uncovered some extra information. As he was transporting Amber Heard to Coachella, he stated that they had a conversation about the poo-poo and that she had told him that it was a horrible practical joke gone wrong.
And when you refer to the surprise in the boss's bed, what are you referring to?
The defecation.
What did Miss Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
Now, previously her attorney has said that she had fecal phobia and there was no possible way it could have been her and had done such a grotesque act. However, this statement proves otherwise. You know, whether it was her pooping on the bed or not, no doubt she was involved in the incident.
And the housekeeper found some, feces on the bed. It's human, not dog, even though they got two dogs and one of them has major problems. You'll hear about Boo and Pistol. Amber's fecal phobia. I mean, she can't even, she's so embarrassed about that stuff. She would never conspire, never do anything like that to him.
Now, remember when I said that Amber Heard's legal team are trying to paint the image that Johnny Depp is an alcoholic and a drug addict, which fuels his rage to be the abuser? It seems that through many testimonies from witnesses that Amber Heard is seen indulging in alcohol and drugs just as often, if not more, than Johnny Depp. Sterling states that during her time at Coachella, she had gotten sick and was vomiting due to the fact that she was ingesting magic mushrooms and drinking wine on an empty stomach.
And how do you know that she drank red wine and took magic mushrooms?
I saw the room service and I went to their room to collect them to take them out that evening.
So is that something?
In the car.
Excuse me. Is that something you witnessed?
I witnessed it. She didn't want anyone else to know that she was sick.
Do you recall what her symptoms were?
Yeah, she was throwing up.
Now, this tells me already that Amber Heard has a tendency to lie and manipulate situations to her benefit. Liar! Next up we have Sean Bett, who was employed as a private security for Johnny Depp, and he testifies that he himself has never seen any physical injuries on Amber Heard at any point in their relationship, but has seen injuries on Johnny Depp. Notably, first time around 2014, where Johnny Depp had the finger damage from his trip to Australia. Now we'll get into that soon.
There's a laceration on the left side of his nose. Left upper cheek has a slight bruise to it. And then on his forehead, almost to the center, it looks like there's a red scratch mark. A vertical scratch mark adjacent to his right ear. There's a scratch mark on the lower right portion of his chin.
Did you ever see any similar injuries on Miss Heard?
None.
Did Miss Heard ever tell you she was being abused by Mr. Depp?
She didn't.
Did she ever ask you for help?
No.
The thing that puzzles me is Amber Heard has never asked for help, which would have made sense. If she was being abused, Sean works in security, it would be right up in his alley to defend her. However, counterpoint, Sean is the one who had advised Johnny Depp to be taking photos to keep evidence just in case something like this were to occur.
Why did you take this photograph?
Well, we needed it as evidence in case Ms. Heard tried to make allegations towards Mr. Depp. I was emphatic with him, telling him that's a serious mark and we need to photograph it.
Personally, I think for someone to work in security detail, it is in your best interest for he or she to be capable enough to memorize events that has transpired, whether it is to the client's benefit or not. It's just going to cover your ass. Analyzing this man's demeanor, you can tell he's not really lying or anything. Now, since we're on the tangent of private security, let's move on to our next witness that is employed for security, Mr. Malcolm Connolly, one of Johnny Depp's bodyguards. Now, we can tell that this man is very loyal to Johnny Depp. As the saying goes, you attract what you put out, which is a testament to Johnny Depp's character. And one line that really grabs my attention is when he says this.
Have you ever seen Mr. Depp use any drugs?
He probably does a bit of cocaine. Johnny Depp would never compromise my license, my position, and embarrass me like that. It wouldn't happen. So, to answer to your question, I've seen him smoke weed, yes.
Now that tells me that despite Johnny Depp's habits, he would not put people who are under his wing into a position that could potentially hurt their reputation in future and would only accept the consequences himself. So for him to want to sue Amber Heard, he must have been pushed to the limit. Isn't that right, Nohado? Now Malcolm as well, along with a whole bunch of other people, have testified that they were very, very lovey-dovey in their relationship at first, but he started noticing changes from her.
Oh, you know, lovey-dovey, everything was great. Amber started to change. I would say a bit more feisty, demanding, you know. See that Amber wanted to wear the pants in this relationship. That was pretty obvious.
Now, bringing everything back to my previous statement about how Amber Heard's legal team is trying to paint this image that Johnny Depp is this alcoholic and drug addict, it seems that Malcolm, in his 20 years of working for Johnny Depp, has only seen him really drunk maybe 2 times in his life, and that he doesn't drink as often as everyone presumes. That's a bit suspicious.
I think Jack Sparrow was more drunk than Johnny Depp. In the 20 odd years I've been with Johnny, I think I've seen him drunk twice. When I say drunk, I mean drunk.
Now, to further support the ideas that Amber Heard is an aggressive person, we have my boy Keenan Wyatt here, who has worked with Johnny Depp on several films as a sound technician and engineer. He himself has personally never seen him abuse anyone or personally seen him do cocaine. Now, he may have done it, but just not in front of my boy. Now, Keenan recalls this one flight where he tells her that Johnny Depp really cares about her, and in turn, she ends up yelling at him.
Well, at one point, I went up to her and said something to the effect of, you know, he cares about you, and all of a sudden, she snapped and started yelling at me, how dare you talk to me, get away from me. She was abruptly loud. It was a quiet plane, all of a sudden it got very loud.
Now, this sounds like a person who doesn't like to be wrong and wants to always be in control of the situation. Almost like a narcissist. But this isn't the first time she has displayed her aggressive behavior in front of one of Johnny Depp's witnesses. We now bring forward Ben King, the house manager for one of Johnny Depp's homes in Australia. Now, this is in regards to the Australia incident where Johnny Depp has had his middle finger severed, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, King and Amber Heard both returned to LA together on the same flight, and when King asked her what had happened, she responded by asking him whether he has ever gotten so angry at someone that you just completely lost it.
So what happened? You know, obviously referring to the house. She didn't give much explanation, if any. She did say, Ben, have you ever been so angry with someone you just lost it with them? No. She repeated it. You mean you've never lost it?
How would you describe her tone?
Incredulous. be fair to say.
Essentially, this implies that she has a very aggressive behavior and she garners disbelief towards the idea that her anger just isn't normalized. Now, the reason she would even ask such a thing, as you may or may not know, this is in regards to the incident that had led Johnny Depp to have part of his middle finger severed by shards of a vodka bottle. Now, you may ask, how in the finger-cutting fuck does this even happen? Is this even possible? Well, apparently, Amber Heard threw a vodka bottle next to Johnny Depp's face, and the shattered glass had severed his finger. Now, it's not impossible. At the speed of which a vodka bottle is flying at a wall, and at the speed where the shard has come off and incidentally fell down and cut the finger, it's plausible. Now, King testifies that he has seen no injuries on Amber, despite her constantly claiming that she's been physically, verbally, psychologically, and sexually abused by Johnny Depp. But that just puts me into deep thought. What could possibly make you so angry that you would throw an entire bottle at someone's face? Man, that shit would hurt, man, whether it was full or not. Those vodka bottles are thick. Quadruple C thick. That glass is not easy to break, yet she was able to toss it hard enough at the wall for it to shatter into pieces. Now, this pretty much discredits everything that Amber Heard's lawyer has been saying about how she is so much smaller than him, and there's no way that she could possibly be the abuser. She couldn't do it because she's too small, too weak. Come on now.
You know, she's almost half his size. So he, you know, she said, if I pushed him, he doesn't move. He pushes me, I go flying across the room.
Stop the cap.
There isn't any, you know, ability on her part to be the abuser.
Now, I want to avoid sounding like a broken tape recorder. Tape recorder. Sorry about that. But I have to once again touch up on the several facts that continually pop up, which is that Amber Heard doesn't seem to have any physical injuries while Johnny Depp does. And also the fact that he barely drinks while she drinks quite often. In fact, every day. And now to support that fact, our next witness, we have Miss Tara Roberts, who manages Johnny Depp's island. Jesus, Johnny, a whole island? Is that really necessary? Can you believe the expenditure of this man? I mean, I'd buy an island if I could, but I wouldn't tell anyone about it. Look, I won't say too much this time, and I'll just let the testimony speak for itself.
What, if any, injuries did you notice on Miss Heard?
I didn't notice any. Decided that maybe it would be best if we just drove up there just to make sure that everything was okay. You could hear inside the house Amber yelling and Johnny answering back. Then you started to hear, it became audible. Amber was telling him that he was a washed up actor, was gonna die a fat, lonely old man. You heard Johnny say, "You hit me with a can," and then he came down the steps. Amber was behind him, and there was a brief pause, the moment, I think, of initial shock or uncertainty of why, you know, that we were there. Amber came up to him and was asking him to come back in the house, that she was sorry, please come back in the house. He was hugging and kissing him, and I love you, I love you. He didn't react. He started to walk away. At that time, Amber started to grab at him and basically viciously trying to pull him back and get him back into the house and yelling at him. It was like clawing, grabbing at his clothes, grabbing his hair, trying to like pull him back, like an angry, like he was leaving.
How did Mr. Depp react to Miss Heard viciously grabbing him?
He didn't. Stood there with his arms by his side. He had a mark across the bridge of his nose.
Now, there were many incidents today on top of the Australia one, but there is one notable incident that I want to talk about, and that would be at one of Johnny Depp's penthouses where police were called onto the scene due to a 911 call. Now, I have 3 witness testimonies here: Officer Tyler Haddon, William Gatlin, and Melissa Sayans. There were 2 call-outs, one earlier in the night and then one later in the night. Also, it was Amber Heard's friends that called them. Now, the thing here is that they all more or less testified the exact same thing. They couldn't see any visible injuries on Miss Heard, despite there being low light, but no visible apparent injuries, and there was no damages to the property either. So in saying that, there could have been a verbal dispute, but not necessarily a physical one. Even if there were damages to property, someone could easily break something, and that doesn't necessarily mean there was a physical altercation. Now, but the one thing that seems to be the most telling is that all the officers testified that the witnesses present were being very uncooperative, and they were providing very vague answers when being questioned about the scene that had occurred. Amber Heard also refused treatment, which to me is a little bit sus, right? Because if you're being domestically abused physically, you'd probably want to get treated, and yet also no one is trying to provide the information of the scene and what had gone down, and Johnny Depp wasn't even there. Something doesn't line up. But this really says something about the people that Amber Heard hang out with. It's like what I said with Johnny Depp before. You attract what you put out. And in this case, it seems to be manipulative, liars, and yes men practically, who just say yes and agree and believe whatever the hell she has to say.
Would you say the people were reluctant to even have you come into the apartment?
It felt that way. It didn't seem like anybody was particularly eager to talk to us.
What, if any, efforts did Amber Heard make to come over and to show you any evidence of injuries?
None.
And what, if any, effort did Amber Heard or her friends make to try to show you any type of property damage?
None.
Is it your testimony that you do not perceive this cheat to be reflecting an injury on Amber Heard?
Correct, no injury.
Did you interview the woman that was sitting with Amber Heard?
I attempted to. All parties were uncooperative.
Did you perceive any signs of injury on her face or anywhere else on her body that was visible to you?
No.
Did you have a clear view of her face?
Yes.
Was there sufficient light that enabled you to actually see her face?
I believe it was, the light was a little dimmer, but it was still lit.
Did you see any marks on her face either the first time you observed her that night or the second time you observed her?
Just the redness, which was consistent with her crying.
Was he cooperative with your inquiries that evening?
No.
Everything said may or may not have happened despite testifying under oath, but at the end of the day, it's all a show for the jury. It's lip service, and ultimately they have the decision to make at the end. But one witness had really opened my eyes to this case and really put me on one side of this argument, and that is forensic psychologist Dr. Shannon Curry. Not only was she professional and composed, she was concise with her answers. She would never be swayed by the poor questioning of Amber Heard's legal team, and she would stick to the facts and stay clear of bias. She did, however, also testify that in her professional opinion, Amber Heard has borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, which essentially means she has some attention-seeking behavior. Now, you'll hear her explain this, but essentially she has come to these conclusions through 2 days of evaluations, and she also states that Amber Heard has a gross exaggeration of PTSD claims, which makes me believe that at this point, is there really anyone out there that isn't in Amber Heard's close circle of crazy friends that is on her side? I think not. Now, I get this is very biased of me to say, but mind you, this video is summing up practically the first couple weeks, which is Johnny Depp presenting his case, which is why it will very much seem as I am completely on his side. Which I kinda am.
I also gave her the CAPS-5, a clinician-administered PTSD scale, and on that, there were signs of gross exaggeration. She had engaged in extreme levels of exaggeration. When you're providing therapy, you're in a very different role than an examiner. When you're the forensic examiner, you're just really looking at data to make a decision. When you're a therapist, you're an advocate for your client's well-being. Most of the time, and most of Ms. Heard's providers were just treating Ms. Heard. They had never so much as done an initial interview with Mr. Depp and gotten his whole life story or his symptoms or his side of any of it. The treatment relationship is about helping your client achieve well-being, not making formal psychological or psychiatric opinion.
Every one of them had to take Amber Heard at his word, right?
Yes.
You went to Mr. Depp's home for dinner and drinks before you were hired as an expert in this case, correct?
I was interviewed at Mr. Depp's home by his legal team. Dinner was served.
And don't you think that's a little odd that you're getting interviewed by Mr. Depp?
I was interviewed by the legal team. Not correct. No, that's not quite right. The way you phrased it is not quite right.
Tell me what's right.
No. A bipolar disorder?
Yes.
That's not correct.
Okay. Did I read that correctly?
It says perpetrated, but other than that, yes.
Okay. Ms. Heard exhibits.
You do.
Objection, speculation.
That's not speculation.
No, I'll sustain the objection if you want to ask.
Okay. If it goes to bias, Your Honor.
I sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Bredoff, that is not accurate.
What is accurate?
You're incorrect. That is not correct.
Woo! It's getting hot up in here, bro. Okay, so now that we're on the topic of character, let's talk about Amber Heard for a second. When the couple had divorced back in 2016, Johnny Depp had paid a settlement of $7 million, which he had pledged to donate to the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, and also the Children's Hospital in LA. $3.5 million to both, right? Ooh, I can do math. However, next on the witness stand, we have Terrence Doherty, General Counsel at the ACLU, who testifies that not only has she not fully paid the $3.5 million, but she herself had only contributed about $350,000, which she then follows up to say that she is having financial trouble. Yo, you pledged that money to donations and you haven't fun. Come on, man. It shouldn't even be your money at that point.
How much has Ms. Heard paid directly to the ACLU?
$350,000 paid directly. $100,000 which was a check from Johnny Depp, $500,000 payment from a donor-advised fund at Vanguard, and then there was a $350,000 payment that appears to be from a donor-advised fund at Fidelity, making it total $1.2 million. One that we received the $500,000 contribution from, we believe that that is a donor-advised fund that was set up by Elon Musk.
Now, I'm not saying she's lying about paying the $3.5 million, because she's been paying in increments, even though it's not her paying each time, but she could just as well pay the total in good time. However, Johnny Depp paid her in full. I don't see why she couldn't do the same. I have a theory about this, okay? And it all comes together with our next witness, Mr. Edward White, Johnny Depp's business manager. He states that during the course of their marriage, they would have spent a total of $160,000 on wine. 160K? On just wine. Bro, I could drink my whole life with that kind of money, bro. What? But since the divorce, Johnny Depp has spent $0 on wine. Amber Heard's legal team is constantly trying to paint that image that Johnny Depp is an alcoholic and drug addict. But when it seems that Amber Heard is the one indulging in this very expensive habit. Now, did she spend the $7 million on just wine? Probably not. But to me, it seems like she's very concerned with keeping money to herself and not following through with the promises that she's made. Cap!
I satisfied the liabilities that Mr. Depp incurred, which at the dissolve of their marriage was approximately $160,000. But his wine bill has shrunk to virtually zero. He does not consume that much in the way of wine.
You're familiar with a Spanish wine known as Vega Sicilia?
Yes, I know that it is a very expensive wine, and that I know that Ms. Heard enjoyed drinking the wine. Cost of the wine is approximately $500 a bottle. At Ms. Heard's request, she ordered 5 bottles of the wine and 8 bottles of other wine, so a total of 13 bottles of wine.
And lastly, I just want to review a few of these audio recordings. Now, they've been played in the past and they have been circulating the web for quite some time now. But again, this is about character.
And I watched you lie, and then
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, you've been in a lot of fights. You've been around a long time. I know. Yeah,
no, when you fucking have a close
You didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby. You are such a baby. Grow the fuck up, Johnny.
You start physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You are admirable.
Changing the narrative from punching and hitting as if that makes a difference. You know, she continues to belittle him by saying the difference between him and her is that he's bitching about the abuse and pain and that he is a baby and he should grow up, which dismisses the idea of her actually abusing him physically. Now, why would someone write an entire post on domestic abuse when they speak to their own partners in this way? Only a control freak would do such a thing.
To get out of a bad situation while it's happening before it gets worse. To
avoid talking to me. To
avoid
working it out. That's
to escape the fight.
You don't escape the fight. You escape the solution.
No.
You escape the solution.
No.
You escape figuring it out. We cannot work it out if you run away to the bathroom every time.
Listen, you can't have a solution if the argument just keeps mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting, I fucking go into the bathroom and sit on the floor. Bam, 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 here you come. Fight, 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 crazy, escalated. I go split again, I go to another fucking bathroom or a bedroom or something. Knock, 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 bang, bang, bang. You kept coming to get me.
Every time Johnny Depp says one thing, she has to correct him and say that she's actually doing something else. Like, for example, when he's saying, I'm trying to get away so we don't argue, and she's just like, no, you're leaving me, leaving the situation, you're not trying to solve things. And you're essentially gaslighting him to think that he's in the wrong when he's just trying to calm the situation down or de-escalate. Now again, if that doesn't scream narcissist, I don't know what does. Now I'm not sure about this specific recording, but in the past, Amber Heard has documented multiple photos, audio, and video recordings, and a majority of them, if not all of them, were unbeknownst to Johnny Depp at the time. If you were truly a victim, would you not be in a position where the risk is too high for you to be recording? This itself makes me think that she was out to set him up from the very beginning. Evil! Now I understand that these last couple of weeks have been Johnny Depp providing his case, so of course the world is really only going to see his side of the story, even with cross-examinations. However, if you think about it, this has been ongoing since she had released that op-ed back in 2018. And if Johnny Depp can withstand the torment of the internet and world for over 4 years, then I think she can handle the hate for 2 weeks. Either way, I'm very interested to see what she has to say and what she is going to put forward in the following few weeks. I've been scouring through all of social media and I'm finding it very difficult to find anyone who is on her side. Although I'm sure the world, after seeing all the evidence, would love to see her lose this case. Hey, but thank you guys so much for sitting with me, and I hope this video has helped you grab an insight into the last couple of weeks of this trial. If you like the video and want to keep supporting the channel, make sure you slam the like and subscribe button, and I'll be back to cover Amber Heard's side of the case when the time comes. But much love as always. It's your big boy, Judge Wong, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Court is adjourned. She looking at me, give me chills, I froze, see me check up, down, you the one I chose.